What's up, guys? It's Jensen, and welcome to another video. So the Indiana Pacers this year are 18-9. They've been a very good team this year, and they don't get enough talk about them. But obviously, without Oladipo, they've kind of fallen out of the potential NBA championship discussion. But I don't think so. Not so fast right now, because I really feel like the Indiana Pacers, they could really be more than just your ordinary playoff team. I really feel like they could make the NBA Finals. That's why Indiana's my dark horse to make the NBA Finals this year out of the East. Let's talk about these guys. The media doesn't talk about them enough, but I'm going to talk to you guys about what these guys are doing, because it's been very impressive. Better take into account that this is a top 5 defensive unit. And Malcolm Brogdon this year, he's having an all-star type of year. And I know he's not Klay Thompson, but when you combine his three-point shooting with his perimeter defense, and he can also play off the ball on offense, and defensively he can really lock down these guys on the perimeter, and he's the closest thing that there is to Klay Thompson other than Klay Thompson himself. He's been very impressive this year, and he should definitely be in the All-Star game if he continues this. And Miles Turner, I know he's not quite Karl-Anthony Towns or Nikola Jokic, but this is also an NBA unicorn right here. You take into account that he always is among the league leaders in blocks. He's a force on the interior. He's such a great interior defender. He can even stretch out wide to the perimeter for defense. And on offense, he's got extended range. He can shoot that three-pointer. And he can also play on the interior, score points in the paint. And I know he's not Karl-Anthony Towns, but when you take into account the fact that he plays great defense and he can score on the perimeter, those guys are very valuable. I think Miles Turner could be an all-star someday. And Domantas Sabonis, my goodness, this guy, he can average 20 points, 10 rebounds. He's really good, really consistent. We don't talk about him at all. And I remember looking at that Paul George trade, and I thought, what a putrid return. I mean, you're trading away Paul George, a multi-time all-star. All you're getting is Victor Oladipo and Domantas Sabonis. Boy, was I wrong. I mean, Paul George leaves the Thunder not too soon. And then you take into account that Victor Oladipo, he was an all-star type of player the last time we saw him. And Sabonis is a 20 and 10 type of guy. And Pacers really, they got a good return there. And Sabonis, he's just a good player. I want to see what he does in the coming games and weeks, because he's a good player. We have to keep an eye on him. And taking into account Jeremy Lamb, he's a great scorer off the bench. They got a bargain in him. He just knows how to put the ball in the bucket, and he's got great range. The whole thing. He's a great player. And T.J. Warren, versatile forward, whom they got plus 2 extra second-round picks, let me remind you, from the Phoenix Suns. I thought that was a great deal when you're taking into account Warren. He's a versatile defender. He's also pretty good on offense. He puts up some buckets, and you take into account all these pieces, and you take into account the fact that Nate McMillan is coaching these guys. I really like Nate McMillan. I really feel like other than Eric Spoelstra, there isn't a better coach in the Eastern Conference right now. And Indiana's a real threat. But this really comes down to Victor Oladipo, guys. And let me remind you, the last time we saw this guy playing at an all-star level 2 years ago, he was scoring 23 points per game, 5 rebounds, 4 assists on 49% shooting. I mean, those are great numbers. And he wasn't even in his prime. I was wondering if a couple years from then, maybe Oladipo could become a top 10 player, top 15. It was definitely possible when you saw Victor Oladipo. He was pretty young, and he wasn't quite in his prime yet, and the future looked bright. And I remember those Pacers taking the LeBron James Cleveland Cavaliers to 7 games. And I know LeBron didn't have Kevin Love or Kyrie Irving there, but that was still impressive. I thought the future was bright for Indiana. But then obviously Oladipo gets injured, but Indiana still battles. And, we all know they didn't really have a chance after Oladipo went down. But when I look at Victor Oladipo, I really see a poor man's Michael Jordan. I know he's not Michael Jordan. Let's make that very clear. Jordan's better at virtually everything than Oladipo by quite a margin. But they're both above average on defense. In Jordan's case, the defensive player of the year. Victor Oladipo, I really feel like he's a great defender on the perimeter. that's just a really good defender. I feel confident if I put him on CJ McCollum or Donovan Mitchell or Bradley Beal. I really feel like Oladipo, when healthy, could stop him. And on offense, he's the type of guy whom you could put the ball in his hands and he's going to get a bucket when the game's on the line. He's a pretty good offensive player, and he was still developing, which was pretty exciting. That was the exciting part about Oladipo, because he was still developing, and yet he was already pretty good before he got injured. But when you look at Oladipo, if he can get healthy, if he can get 25 or 30 regular season games under his belt before the postseason, and you know Indiana's going to be there with the crew they got, watch out, guys, because Oladipo in the playoffs, I'm not going to bet against him. I'm going to give Indiana a real chance if Oladipo is close to the player he was 2 years ago, because you take into account Milwaukee, I don't trust them. Their players diminish when it becomes playoff time. Giannis becomes a little worse. Middleton, he's really a number 3 option, getting paid like a 1B, which, if you didn't know, he definitely got overpaid. 5 years, $180 million. I like Middleton. He ain't that type of player. He gets slightly worse during the playoffs. Bledsoe becomes a shell of himself. He maybe looks like a top 10 or 15 point guard in the regular season, but in the postseason, he looks flat out awful, and it's been a consistent theme. Though the rest of those guys aren't good enough if those 3 are off, so I don't really buy into Milwaukee right now, but we'll see. Philadelphia, they can't score enough points to win NBA games. I mean, just talk to me when Ben Simmons gets a perimeter shot and they finally find some floor spacing. But until then, let's not even talk about Philadelphia. They're not for real until they get an offense. And Boston, I really like them, but they're lacking a rim protector right now. Maybe Steven Adams will change that, but they need one of those high-end rim protectors before we consider them for potential NBA Finals. And Miami, while I like them, they're really lacking rebounding right now. But if they find rebounding, maybe they're going to make the NBA Finals, and they're my favorites right now. But without the rebounding, maybe not. So you take into account all these major flaws of these other contending teams. And if Oladipo's right, watch out, guys, because Indiana's going to be a real threat. Thanks for watching this video, guys. Please like and subscribe. I'll be providing you more NBA and NFL hot takes as the season goes on, and have a good day.